Moving on to our second topic, we have the new Nosferatu film that's coming out by director Robert Eggers. Now, I hadn't really heard of this cat before, but didn't realize I've actually seen a couple of his movies. And my hope for the Nosferatu film has, of at least his direction of it, is going to be a bit complicated because there was a movie called The Witch that came out in 2015, and I did not like this film. I thought it had potential. I thought it looked exceptionally well, but the problem was the film had this really weird, surreal, art, new age, artistic thing to it, to where things happen but they don't happen, and then when things do happen, there's no sense behind it. Characters make questionable decisions, and things aren't explained. Well, anyways, I didn't ultimately didn't like the movie. Like I said, I thought the dialogue and the acting was good. I thought the way the movie was shot, it was the practical effects, all of that stuff was good. It's just ultimately I just didn't like the writing, and I didn't really like the direction of the film. And then he ended up coming out with a film called The Lighthouse, which has stars Willem Dafoe and the guy that played Batman, can't think of it, Robert Pattinson. And I hadn't watched the film. I heard it was gross, but I also heard that it was a bit of a mixed bag. You got some people that say it's one of the best films, and it also has that weird artistic flair to it. Um, that people this new age stuff seems to be going gearing towards. I see that with a lot of Blumhouse films too, but then you got the other half that says one of the worst films. So I'm not sure where to rate that, but I did. And then of course, I believe it was either last year or the year before, The Northman came out, and that movie completely killed. So, and it had critical acclaim. People love it. Critics loved it. The regular people loved it. Just all around. I mean, woke people didn't, but those weird woke or extremist folks, they didn't. But pretty much, it was a really, really popular film. It was a really good film. I regret not even watching it yet because I haven't seen it. If I had a chance, I will watch it though. So I'm on the fence because this man's track record, he hasn't done much, but these are pretty much the ones that he has done, directed at least. And I don't know if he's going to be taking notes. Hopefully, I can already see Nosferatu being somewhat of this surreal, new age, artistic, I don't know, cornucopia of just weirdness. I could kind of see the film kind of heading that way because Count Orlok is basically just a weird version of Count Dracula. And, you know, his image in media has been there, but it's been there since I want to say the 50s with the silent films, which I think is before that actually. So if I got the dates wrong, excuse me. But and it's interesting seeing a character like this being brought into the modern day, and I'm interested to see if they can do that. Now they did do a film, I think it's called The Shadow of the Vampire, that had Willem Dafoe in it, and although I have not watched it, that is one of the more clearer, or probably one of the few remakes or interpretations of the character that's been brought to modern day, which it was made probably about 10, 15 years ago. It was somewhere around it. It was made in either the late 2000s. I think it's in the 2000 range. And they had another one, but I hadn't seen that one either. So I think a Nosferatu film is actually a pretty good idea. I heard they were going towards doing a Frankenstein film as well, but that's neither here nor there. But anyways, my thing is I'm interested to see. And then what makes me actually interested to see the film is who they got to play as the character, Count Orlok, or Nosferatu, and that is Bill Skarsgård. And ever since this cat came in on the scene after his performance in Hemlock Grove, this man has just continued to just build his career as an actor in some really, really good films. television shows. He was in Castle Rock television series. He played Pennywise the Dancing Clown in the It remake. He's in John Wick 4. He was in Barbarian. He was in, what is that film? The Devil All the Time. Like, this man has range. He's shown that he can be that. Basically, I've been just a fan of this man since Hemlock Grove. Not, and he's good with playing creepy characters. So it would be nice to see his interpretation of Count Orlok. And another impressive thing besides the lead is also just the casting that they've had. Now, most of the cast I do know of, but some I'm not so sure I haven't heard of, like Aaron Taylor Johnson. Uh, I've loved this guy since he was in Kick Ass, and I've really enjoyed his films. I just recently watched Bullet Train. He did a fantastic job in that film. Lily Rose Depp, who was Johnny Depp's daughter. I didn't know he had kids, or at least I hadn't heard or seen any being pushed out into the public as actors or anything like that. But it's nice to see that his daughter's acting, and she seemed like she's been in a couple of things too. Nicholas Hoult is one of my favorite actors, and it's interesting because this year, I believe, he's supposed to be playing in a film with Nicolas Cage as Renfield to Dracula. So he's going to turn around and play in one film with Dracula, then turn around and play another vampire film, be with Nosferatu. I think that's actually a pretty interesting dynamic. And then bringing up Willem Dafoe, he's going to be in this. So that means that he's going to be in two incarnations of the Nosferatu Nosferatu media. I think that's actually pretty interesting. Emma Corrin, I'm not sure who that is. Simon McBurney and Ralph Ineson, which I think I've seen him in a couple of films, but he just hadn't made any of my favorites lists. But anyways, basically saying I think Nosferatu is an interesting character, and I'm glad they are giving him a bit of life. And I'm rooting for Robert Eggers to prove me wrong, because basically he's pretty much batting average in terms of quality as a director, and this would be an interesting take on the character, and it'd be nice to see if he can bring something old and then make it new. And I'm also interested, it was during the silent film era, so is he going to incorporate any of that into the film? I think a stylish director and a talented director with a good eye can incorporate some elements of the silent film into this and make it its own. And also another interesting aspect is it going to be black and white? Because I know black and white doesn't always translate well to the big screen nowadays, and people really aren't a fan of it like that. But I think, again, a talented enough director can create a film that utilizes those certain elements and make them work. So I'm on the train for it. I'm interested to see what they're going to do with it. I'm interested in the direction. Honestly, I need to go back and go watch the original as well as the two remakes. If this doesn't, I'm not sure if there's two remakes, but I think it's two remakes. But anyways, we'll see how they're going to go.